At school.
That's all right. We're going to circulate this tape. Tell me the teacher.
Glorvigan. Dick Glorvigan.
Dick Lorvigan. He ought to be hated for that name. Where'd you go to school?
Beneld.
Beneld. Oh, God. You hated monks. You didn't actually think you were going to win something without paying the price. You thought you were embarrassed before. Did you go to Lincoln High? No, you didn't.
Yeah.
What was your most...
Here.
Well, it could have been your significant other. What was the most embarrassing thing that happened to you in high school?
Coming tonight and not knowing the answer was the most embarrassing thing.
What about in high school?
I don't remember anything embarrassing in high school.
Did you ever skip class?
No.
What teacher did you dislike the most?
Mr. Swanson, the psychology teacher, because he lived next door.
And smoked a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, he still does, too.
And he's still alive?
Yeah. I just saw him last night. Yeah, I was over at my parents' house.
What was his nickname?
Oh, I don't know.
Swanee?
Oh, yeah.
It was Jaeger's idea, you know. Carmen, what was your most embarrassing moment in high school? And I know what it is, so you better tell the truth.
When I tried to get a kind of a secret feel off of Mrs. Crabtree.
No, that wasn't it. I was thinking more along the time when you were out in the middle of the football field and the senior class took all your clothes and left you with a Dixie cup.
Right. They should have left me with an ice cream bucket.
Or the time with the dance in front of the dance line.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
Brad, what was your most embarrassing moment?
working for Jim or wherever.
I don't know. A lot of embarrassing moments. I can't think of one.
I remember one time you couldn't decide which side to stand on, the Letterman or the bowling alley gang.
I stood in the middle.
Memory.
I stood in the middle.
Are happy to be here. Some people are just happy to be alive. Right, Pat Murphy?
I'm happy to be alive and to be here tonight, yeah.
What's the one thing you got away with in high school that you felt the proudest? You didn't get caught doing something. What was it?
I can't tell you.
Come on.
People still can't know about some of the things.
Well,
but I just want, back to when you were talking to Brad, where'd you come up with this bowling alley gang stuff? You know, some of those people were Rhodes Scholars, for Christ's sake.
Rogue, yeah, Rogue Scholars. What teacher did you hate the most? The most?
Rocky Elk, everybody knows that.
Rocky Elk.
I've got more, but you said the most, right?
All right, thanks. For most years in school?
No, most years coaching. Or
Most years coaching. Speaking of coaches and things like that, what teacher did you hate the most in school?
Hate the most?
Hate.
I don't know as if I would
Dislike.
hated any or disliked.
Gene, are you in politics? No. What was your most embarrassing moment, or what did you get away with that no one ever, something you got away with?
I managed to keep a perfect attendance record, got a certificate for it, and was not necessarily in school every day that I was credited with.
I think anybody who volunteers like you did,
I was a sucker.
and I don't mean for Vietnam, I mean for the 25th reunion. How long have you lived in here? You've lived on Landau Drive a lot of years.
14 years?
You gonna live there another 14?
Not really. I might be moving this year.
You might be coordinating this thing from Winston-Salem.
From Winston-Salem. Right next to you. You're going to have to be on my committee, Jim.
When you were in high school, which teacher did you dislike the most?
My biology teacher. What's his name, though?
Mr. Sheffer?
You got it. However, I got to tell you, I learned the most from him. I hated him, but I loved him.
And what was the one thing that you got away with in high school? One time you did something and nobody caught you.
I always got caught. I was a dumb sucker that always got caught. So I didn't do too much. I stayed pretty clean.
They called y'all here.
I just want to take an opportunity. We didn't thank you over the PA system, but I wanted to thank you on this tape
Yes, please.
for all the alcohol that you contribute tonight.
Oh, yes. Either verbally, orally, or otherwise.
And I think your wife is going to appreciate all the alcohol you don't consume tonight.
She's asking for more, and I don't quite understand that.
Ray, what was when you were in school, what teacher did you dislike the most?
John Junker, owner of the Junker Trash Service, which I feel is appropriate.
And what was the one thing that you did that you didn't get caught at?
Egging his house.
I tell you what,
Jim.
you start this thing, you got to get involved in it. What was the one teacher in school you disliked the most?
Well, I guess you have to, for dislike, I guess I'd have to put a football coach for some of the stuff they did onto the football field.
That wouldn't be Elton, would it?
Elton. With those bags, or inner tubes filled with sand, he used to make us run around those fields. That was a lot of work.
What was the one thing that you did and never got caught?
Looking under the door. This is a good question. It really is. I don't know if you remember, Jim, but the door off the wrestling room.
Looked into the girls' locker room.
Underneath the door, looking into the girls' locker room.
Now, I got one more follow-up question here.
I don't think anybody got caught, but when they did get caught, it was the wrestling coach, Coffee. And boy, did they catch it.
One more follow-up question. Who did you see?
Well, that was the nice part about it. The fact that we couldn't see above the shoulders. You know, everything, we couldn't see heads because, I mean, you got to look at your line of sight. It was limited. So all you saw was bodies.
Sounds like Porky's 3, doesn't it? He would tell us anyway. He saw all the faces. He did. Thank you. It was against the rules, but you never got caught.
Gary and I did it.
Hey, we're all from Minnesota. Carol and I slept together.
Yeah, we
All right.
slept together several times. Don't tell Linda.
What was the one thing that you remember from high school that you probably would tell your children not to do?
I wouldn't do it with Gary again.
Don't sleep with Gary.
Don't sleep with Gary. Yeah.
I'm going to tell my...
John,
Hi, Ray. How are you?
let me ask you, John, hi, how have you been here tonight, John?
It's been wonderful, really.
Let me ask you-
68. It's been a dream for me to come back and see
And for
these
your
people.
wife, too?
Oh, very definitely.
Okay, let me ask you, insofar as Lincoln High School is concerned, what was the most interesting part?
Well, I think just all the wonderful people that I met there and associated with for 4 years. I'd like the opportunity to see all those people again. I hope we do this at the 30th. I'm really impressed.
What I'm really interested in is the most embarrassing incident. Did it involve any particular instructor?
Well, it wasn't really one of the instructors. It was you, Ray. Do you remember the time? No, really. We'll do this later.
Off camera?
It's inappropriate to do it right now.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'd like to know, number one, what your name, please, is?
Clayton Hyatt.
All
See
right.
the name tag?
I can read. They can't from there. But what was one of the more embarrassing moments of high school for you?
Being there.
Okay. Was it undressing in front of the girls' locker room?
No, I was undressing in the girls' locker room.
Okay. Did they enjoy it? Did they applaud?
No. As a matter of fact, they threw me out.
Excellent.
I'm in the position I am today.
Standing.
Yes.
Thank you. With us today, Sheila X. Klein Hexel. All right, other than having a very embarrassing last name, Sheila, what was one of the more unusual incidents of high school?
I graduated.
That is rather strange, isn't it? I mean, it was peculiar to all of us. Anyone else that you'd say had the same predicament?
Well, probably quite a few.
Quite a few. All right. Thank you very much. Marsha, I need to talk to you for a moment. Please, Marsha. Marsha.
How big are you?
Please. All right, please don't let me use force, Marsha. I can see I already had to earlier. Marsha, can you tell me what was the most embarrassing part of high school for you?
Knowing you.
Okay, excellent. Since you were in the same predicament, this film, by the way, is only 2 days old from our graduation. How do you explain the condition you're in, Marsha?
You explain it.
Now, let me ask you, Marsha, are we to believe still that you are a virgin? Is this what you're trying to sell us?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
All right, was it the Northern Star?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Penny Nelson, I believe Penny Nelson, hello.
That's
And
right.
Mike Savage. Let me ask you, Mike, up front, I mean, your name in high school used to be Sagabooey. How did you get that name, Mike?
I believe Ray Streeter, my good friend Ray Streeter, gave me that name.
Handsome young man. I know of him. All right. And Penny, your true name being Penelope? Did you enjoy that name growing up? Could you look at the camera and scare them all?
No, I did not enjoy Penelope Ray.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All right,
Penelope
what was one of the
not
more
my favorite name.
what was one of the more embarrassing moments of high school, other than going out with me?
Being caught with you by my parents.
Excellent. We won't ask doing what. And for you, Mike, your embarrassing moment was what?
Well, I don't know if it was my most embarrassing moment or
Well,
not.
we'll be the judge of that, Mike.
I believe it was Debbie Bothwell's most embarrassing moment when she was on the dance line at a pep rally. I remember this vividly, and someone gave Debbie a Snuggie.
All right,
Very good one.
Could I suggest,
I believe the whole
Mike?
football team remembered that one.
All right, could I suggest, Mike, maybe one of your most embarrassing moments is having your fly down right now.
No.
Okay, Gene Stutt. Gene, we're looking for embarrassing moments in high school. Do you have any?
I really can't think of any of them.
I didn't think on the cuff like this you could think at all, but go ahead, Gene.
Oh, okay. Embarrassing moments in high school.
We'll let you think for a while. We're talking to Buzz Raymond. Buzz, can you tell us why did they call you Buzz? And does it have anything to do with you being in dentistry?
No, it has nothing with me to do in dentistry. I was named after a doorbell. My mom and dad just looked around the room, and the first thing they saw was a doorbell, and then there was a bee flying around the room, and they just thought Buzz is the perfect.
Oh, it has nothing to do with Buzz job or nothing of that sort at all.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Maybe it was my haircut in high school. Maybe a Buzz job.
That could very well be. All right, I appreciate that. Anything yet here, Gene?
Well, really, the most.
Okay, good. Did you have now getting back to you?
Gene's always had a real trivial mind. I think you should really interview him for a lot of trivia.
He's a quick wit, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's always been sharp, an excellent
fast.
speaker. Gene,
It had to do with high school, but it actually occurred after high school.
okay, you got to narrow down any further than that?
Yeah, my oldest boy is looking through my yearbook. You know the yearbook, Ray?
Yeah, I've seen those.
You probably weren't around when pictures were taken that day.
Did they have cameras in? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My boy's looking at my class, high school yearbook,
Yes.
and he sees Buzz and Raleigh in their Playboy shirts on the tennis team. And he wants to know why these guys on my tennis team, on the tennis team with me, are wearing Playboy bunny shirts.
I think it's unusual that Raleigh had his shirt on. After all, he was normally suspended from the team.
Yes, well, that was true.
Happened to be there on photograph day.
He and the coach had a tough time together.
I can see that. Well, thank you very much.
Did in high school as far as getting into trouble.
Uh-oh. I can't tell on video.
Ruthie, you
wasn't that bad, no.
You were with me. Andrea. Yes. What was the most exciting thing that you think you did?
That I what?
That you did in high school?
Well, I remember when Mary Cowan and I was such a straight arrow. I remember Mary Cowan and
Tell about
Candy and I.
Marcus
We cut school one day. Remember that? We went driving around in her boyfriend's, what was it, candy blue, a powder car, some sort of...
Whose car?
Mary Cowan's boyfriend. Remember he was
Oh,
16?
Yeah,
he
he had a
20 years
GTO.
old.
Purple
that's what it was.
GTO.
Purple GTO.
Where'd you go? Around the lakes.
Everywhere.
Around the lakes. Mr. Donut and around
Did
the
you
lakes.
guys ever go to the Lincoln Dell? Not very often, no.
Did you go to Lincolndale, Ruthie?
Yes.
Ruth, what was the time that, let's see, what was the worst thing you ever did in high school? Tell us about smoking in the bathrooms, Ruth.
No.
The worst thing I ever did in hii
Now
school.
listen, your mother's not watching. You may tell us.
I teepeed, or I helped teepee somebody's house, Dave Carpenter's house, Dave Escondido, and his dad came after us in a car. That's
And
worse.
what
happened? Did he tell your folks then? No, we called up and apologized because we knew we'd get in trouble.
College, and how he began each class with, "Let us commence to proceed to begin." Isn't that interesting to all of you back there in TV land?
Connie didn't have him as a teacher, and I vaguely remember that.
Oh, we were also talking about someone we had in common named Miss
Underwood. Miss Underwood.
And what was her most distinguishing characteristic? Besides her bad breath and buck teeth, and the fact that she was about 68 years old.
Yeah, really. Let's see. All I can remember is I got my class schedule and I thought, great, a nice young Miss Underwood. And then she came in and wrote her name on the board. And we all died. Yeah. And Brad, the one thing we were talking about was Brad would
was very angry because we all got, in the last quarter of the year, a citizenship grade of 3. And that was worse than failing the class as far as our parents were concerned.
And why did I get a 3 now, Terry? Why don't we tell everybody?
Well, he kind
Because I sat behind who?
He sat behind me.
And you haven't forgiven me? I haven't forgiven you to this point.
You that didn't forgive me.
That's right.
Right. But
Let's say hello to Paula, my wife, over there.
yeah.
Huh? TV audience today.
Nice to see you, Brad.
Nice to see you.
What would you like me to talk about?
Well, let's see now. Since we're both now...
We were both standing quite a while when they were talking about marriages.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who stood the longest, you or I.
It was a toss-up.
I think they got to 3, and at that point I looked over and I said, I'm glad that we planned our wedding for next month so I don't have to keep standing up here.
Right. I lied about it all. How about you?
I was being truthful. That's what I'm afraid to say.
Benny, here's the question that everyone would like to know. What was, this is not very original, but it should be interesting, what was the most embarrassing time for you in high school?
Probably getting caught at the Man France Avenue Drive-In reselling ticket stubs and letting all our friends in free and ultimately getting terminated.
All right. Well, it's good to talk to you. It's fun being here, isn't it?
I enjoy it.
That's good.
I liked last night a lot.
Is this your wife over here?
Wife-to-be next month.
Really? Would you like to introduce her?
I don't think she wants to talk, but I mean, they can put her on camera. That'd be fine.
Okay. Why doesn't she just say hello?
I think what we ought to do is...
Well, we'll go over here to Craig. We'll go over here to Craig Andrews. Craig Andrews.
Absolutely.
It's so good to see you,
Absolutely.
my man.
I'm
Yes,
feeling
sir.
good. Yes, yes.
You just started growing this 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes,
It's coming along real good.
I grew it because it makes me look a little older. Yes, absolutely.
You're looking too young without it, in other words.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, listen, tell us, what have you been doing the last year? We won't go back 20 years. How about just the last year?
Making a lot of money.
Great.
I'm an absolute capitalist.
You're not on Hennepin Avenue anymore, though.
No, I've moved up. I moved out to PWB, prestigious West Bloomington. It's been very good to us. Yeah.
Well, Craig, tell us, what was your most embarrassing moment at Lincoln Senior High School?
Oh, God.
Let's just say the senior year, not the...
Senior year. I don't know. I spent a lot of time with Mr. Carbo talking about where I'd been and why I should get an excuse to come back in. I don't know. There were so I really didn't have a lot of school functions because I spent a lot of time with him. So
You don't want to mention the time that you ran through the hallway naked? In Mr. Anderson's science class?
That was strictly an accident. I thought there was a fire. You know.
Craig, we really appreciate your comments.
Nice talking to you. Thank you.
Hi, Brad. Dan Almond, it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Dan, now you sang on the Lawrence Awaka Show for 12 years. Can you tell us now, what was your most embarrassing moment on stage on the Lawrence Awaka Show?
Well, when I tripped off the stage on my two front teeth.
On your two front
teeth? Yeah, they just kind of dropped it down, and then
Oh, they look good now.
Yeah, I got them fixed.
Is there anyone here you'd like to introduce to the TV audience?
Well, off to my right is Daryl Carlson, but he doesn't speak English very well.
It wasn't. Well, what does he speak? Could you speak something in your native tongue for us, please? That's clever.
It's like hi y'all.
Very good. Very good.
Nashville, Atlanta. You two can talk.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Did you live in Atlanta? Well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Atlanta.
I got my own business.
You what?
My own business.
What business is it?
It's a franchise.
Would you like to really
You got your card? Would you like to, who is this young lady over here? Mary Almond?
This is my wife, Mary.
That's my wife, Mary. And there's Sue. Would you like to say something?
He has to think about it for a minute.
Hasn't.
Let me check my book.
See, they had a smart remark earlier when I asked them. I said, "What was the thing that you did in school and never got caught?" And they said, "Slept with each other." See, so there's a story behind it. Everybody say your name. And you have to tell your age too.
Oh, my name?
Becky. Oh, this is a reunion committee. Why don't you do this?
Gary. This is Al.
Anything you want to say?
Marilyn.
Can we sing?
Yeah. What should we sing?
Let's sing. Let's sing our
Can you
song.
sing the
Okay. Our high school song. Yeah. Come on, Gary, get back out here.
You know, that's a good idea.
We'd rather make love.
No, we're gone.
You'd rather what? Okay. Oh, that's on film. What are we gonna sing?
Well, you just a minute. Hey, lovebirds.
Shut the door.
Hello, we'd like to thank everybody for being here, and I would like to introduce 1988 cheerleaders.